The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Lovelies. Thank you for tuning in to A Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. I'm your host, your girlfriend, Miesha Shanell. I curated this podcast to ignite the voices of humanity through open dialogue and candid conversations. I want to talk about relevant topics that are going on today. My goal is to touch, move, and inspire you to live the life that you've been given to live. Come with me on this journey as I show you how to love and live through adversity, but most importantly, how to keep your head up. So in my day-to-day life, I have the privilege of mentoring parents on how to successfully co-parent after the relationship has dissolved. When parents break up, studies show that children tend to be emotional collateral damage in the end. It's not fair, it's selfish, it's disheartening to say the least. I have worked with several dozens of families where the parents struggle to provide the basic emotional and physical needs of the children due to their need to allow their ego to get involved and the need to control the other parent. Today's topic, co-parenting 101. So co-parenting, if just to let you know what that means, Wikipedia says that it is an enterprise undertaken by parents who together take on socialization, care, and the upbringing of children for whom they share equal responsibility. The co-parent relationship differs from an intimate relationship between the parent, and it focuses solely on the child. Say that again. It focuses solely on the child, not the other parent, what the other parent is doing, only the child, okay? I had to really reiterate that because people fail to remember that when a relationship ends, it's not about them, but about their children. I know this may sound frightening to the parent who refuses to work with the other parent, but guess what? So what? It's not about you. When I got married and had my son Isaiah, I had no clue that my marriage would dissolve 3 years into it. I also didn't know that my ex and I, who created a baby out of love, would go within 5 years, it would end and we would hate each other. Had no clue. But what I did know was the commitment that we made to each other for our child. Yes, so let me back up. We had both been born of teenage mothers and we didn't have dads. They were absent. We knew we wanted to give our unborn child everything that he or she needed to grow whole, and we were going to do that together, regardless if we were together or not. In all honesty, I actually despised him for over a decade, but I didn't allow my emotions to get in the way of parenting our child. I made a commitment to myself and my son that I would silence my ego and release the control to try to control him. Because I literally really wanted our child to live a whole life, something that I didn't get to live. Silencing my ego to a man that was rude, obnoxious, and selfish was a practice that I mastered. It took nearly 10 years. Today, my ex and I are friends. We learned how to get along for the well-being of our child. For the first time in 16 years, we actually spent this past Thanksgiving dinner together, and our son was definitely excited about it. So you can co-parent if you really love your child the way you say you do. Co-parent is a true test, but guess what? Children deserve both parents. So today's guest is going to help us out. Tamara Daniels is an executive director at Word Ministries and Growth Motivator Enterprises. These community outreach organizations are dedicated to emotionally, spiritually, and the physical well-being of people, whether it's children or adults. She is a development trainer where she trains on becoming a professional visitation monitor. She's also a professional visitation monitor, a Christian life coach, certified life skills facilitator for the Los Angeles County Probation Department, more of juvenile hall based. Tamara brings a wealth of perception and experience to the field of personal and spiritual growth. Her character is down to earth, no nonsense, straight talk, tender but tough with the motto, no excuses, no promises, just results. She uses humor, anecdotes, metaphors, and plain old common sense, helping others realize the benefits of living a good life God style. Tamara has a bachelor's degree in psychology from Notre Dame. I didn't know that. Woo woo. She's also a minister where she received her minister certificate at the Enon. Thank you for that. Enon School of Theology. Today, she's in studio with me, and we're going to have a candid conversation about parenting, spiritual growth, and redirection. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mrs. Tamara Daniels to A Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. Woo! Hi, lovely.
Thank you, lovely.
You look
Lollipop.
pretty.
Thank you so much.
How are you
Glad
doing?
To be here.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you
for asking.
No, I could not.
I don't get many invitations, so I really appreciate it.
Really? You will be. I'm shocked by that because you have a wealth of information to give, and you give. What I love about you is that you are so generous. You give so freely, so easily, and you want people to win.
Can I get that in writing?
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Afterwards. No, seriously, you really are. And
appreciate that.
how I met you, let's let everybody know how I met you. So I met Tamara almost 5 years ago, and I came in lost, looking for purpose. You probably didn't know this. I came in looking for something that I could do for the rest of my life. And I was hand chosen to come to you. So I met Tamara. Tamara was actually my trainer for me becoming a professional visitation monitor. So Tamara's going to come. She's here. And she's going to come forth and just give us information about life in general, because she definitely is going to enlighten us. But like I said to you in our conversation prior to this, it's going to be just a conversation between the two of us. And
that'll be fun.
Yeah, and we talk all the time, so we're not going to be nervous. But I just wanted to, so we can just move on. I wanted you to share who you are. Who is Tamara Daniels outside of the accolades that I read on you? Who are you?
Actually, I made all that stuff up, by the way.
I know. Actually researched it.
It'll really only take 5 minutes to tell you who I am. But
that's okay.
You know, I was born in Detroit, Michigan, many years ago. And we traveled to California when I was about 3.5 years old. Okay. And I really grew up here, so I'm really a native.
Yeah, you are definitely a native.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Went to Venice High School, graduated Venice High School. Okay. And went to college, came out of college, got my degree in psychology, but I decided I think I need to go into corporate sales. Okay. And use my psychology there. Because back then, at that time, to really make any real money, you needed to have a PhD, really. And I knew I wasn't really ready to do that. So I went into corporate sales, used the psych degree and the behavior study and so forth, and, developed some really nice relationships with people. And that lasted for many, many years, my corporate life, and that was great. And then all of a sudden, God showed up, and I pivoted to working with children. Okay. About 11 or 12 years ago now. So I was always used to adults. Adults, right. So started working with children, got caught up in the whole 2008, economy, Wall Street gone mad. Mm-hmm. Kind of like now. kind of like now. Yeah, although the market is doing quite well. But that's a whole nother topic. I'm sure.
Right.
And I ended up becoming a visitation monitor. Very good, longtime girlfriend of mine since 3rd grade.
Wow.
She's a school teacher.
She's like your sister.
She is like my sister, 3rd grade. And she was a school teacher, and she also did monitoring. And she always tried to get me involved, but I was busy in corporate America. I said no. But anyway, unfortunately, she passed away just out of, a surgical procedure that went wrong. And I thought, well, I'm going to become a monitor. I think it was her looking down on me, breathing on me. So anyway, I did. Okay. And after that, I realized, wow, this is a really, really good, rewarding career. And there are a lot of people that are also suffering from the economy. Let me just start training, since I came out of a training company.
Anyway.
And I did. And now there's so many people like yourself.
Woo woo. I wouldn't change my profession if I had to. It is a blessing.
And I hear that you are a blessing in this profession.
Thank you. That's good to know, because you never know with this. You never know after you close a case how you're perceived. I just go in with my heart. My heart is pure, and I go in neutral. And my goal is to be there so the child can see their parent. That's it. That's all. So thank you for that. But tell us, what are some of your life's passions?
Oh, I have only 2.
Okay. What are they?
Only 2. That is to help redirect or direct or encourage or inspire, be the light, be the voice for people to grow. Number one.
Yeah.
Because I think that the door to the classroom should never shut until we take our last breath.
Amen to that.
So hence, the company name, the Growth Motivator Enterprises. I really want to help people to grow always on all levels of life. I'm really passionate about that. I think I was in the womb that way. I think I was fashioned and knitted in the womb just to come out and motivate people. And then my other passion is my own Christian spiritual growth.
Okay.
Just living my life God style.
So you have nonprofits.
I have one nonprofit, but thank you for that prophecy if I'm going to have more.
2? Okay, so it's just one, and the other it is for-profit.
Yes.
Okay, talk about those. Talk about your profit and nonprofit.
Well, the profit is Growth Motivator Enterprises. So under that comes the family law arm, supervised child visits. Yeah. So that's where we do training, but we also do monitoring, and we also do anger management. And it's still beginning to unfurl into even more things because, believe it or not, I've been busy just with visitation. It's a little.
It's COVID has definitely been a blessing, right? Like
some of it has been.
Yeah, for me, I look at it differently than a lot of people look at it. Yes, it's real, but you can't stop living, and you can't allow this disease or this pandemic to stop your life. Yeah. Like you still have to move in it. So it has allowed me to see things clearer in this moment. Prior to it, I was comfortable. But when things are taken from you because the state or the government takes it from you without your control, it has you move differently. So,
and it's good. I'm beginning to realize it's good to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because uncomfortableness makes us or causes a shift.
Yes.
So I believe that we shouldn't let the ground swallow us. If the ground shifts, you move.
Yes. Yeah. Amen to that.
So the other organization is the nonprofit, and that's Just a Word Ministries.
Okay.
And I am just starting to really get my feet planted firmly in that because the for-profit, obviously, it's the bread and butter, it pays the bills.
Yes.
But my passion has been in Just a Word Ministries for many, many years. I used to tape a show just sharing, Christian wisdom and everything like that. I go in a juvenile hall prior to COVID, for 11 years. And I want to give them a shout out, East Lake Central. Yes.
Give a shout out to your people.
Give a shout out to my homegirls and boys. I love those children. Yes. I love those children. And the message that I brought there was, you matter to God.
You matter to
You
God.
matter.
They need to
whether
hear that.
you are, arrested or sweet as pie, whether you got a GED or a PhD, you still matter to God. And that's how I kind of move forward in my life. It's just keeping that as my motto.
I see that you also, because I witnessed, you have programs. You've created some community-based programs that you have been doing since COVID. I believe it's since COVID. Tell us those two programs. They're phenomenal programs.
I would love to. Yeah. Because this is new to my heart.
Okay, tell
but
us.
I'm so excited about it. One is called Donuts and Juice, and that's where myself and a couple of volunteers, we really need help. Anybody want to help? We really need help. But we go out to the tents over the freeway overpasses, and we bring donuts and juice.
Okay.
And we say, good morning, donuts and juice. And I really love that their little heads pop out, of the tents, and when they hear donuts or food, period, right? And it doesn't matter that it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. They come out, and so we share. We give a word, we give bracelets. I have one I'm wearing now. These are like wristbands, I think I shared one with you. You matter to God. Yeah. And we give out, breakfast. And if they need prayer, we give them prayer. So that's one program. And that's on the first and third Saturday in the mornings.
And then
the other program is called Faith on the Beach, or Faith at the Beach.
Faith at the Beach. Okay.
Faith at the Beach. And I go out to Santa Monica, and I'm trying to make my way down to Venice, which is my
your goal.
That's my goal. Plus, I grew up hanging out at Venice Beach, going to Venice High School. So
I didn't realize that.
I really have to get back down the pathway there. Yeah, I got to get back home.
You got to get back home. That makes sense now, because you've been saying, I got to get to Venice, but I didn't know that you went to school. Yeah, right. That is pretty phenomenal. So you hear my sister saying, guys, if you have been led to witness or to just be of service, contact her at justthewordministries.org if you are interested in volunteering, especially for the holiday season. If you have any donations or anything that you have, please reach out to Just the Word Ministries. Now, so we can tie into the topic. It is a topic that you and I speak on frequently. We're no experts in co-parenting. We don't have all the answers. But what we can talk about is how two parents get themselves caught up for some way or another and have to be on supervised visits and have to allow the judge, the superior court, to tell them what to do, which doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't. So we're just going to have a conversation, give you a few little pointers. I wrote a few pointers on how I have co-parented the last 16 years, and Tamara, who trains us on being a professional monitor, is going to give us a few little tips. What can you say about co-parenting?
Again, let me just preface this too. I am not an expert either. Right. But what I have seen in the past 12 years almost is that children need to have a relationship with both parents. Whether your situation coming into your family was that you were married, or maybe you guys were just girlfriend and boyfriend, it doesn't matter. Or maybe you were adopting and now you've gone your separate ways. Still the child. That is really the key there for you. And I would say to parents that co means just that. It's joined, it's a partnership. It's 1 + 1 doing something together. And raising your children, is something you do together. Children mimic what they see, And so you have to put that behavior up front. You were saying at the top of your show that you and your ex-husband, your son's dad, first you guys went through your process of grieving. Yes. Because divorce is a death.
It is.
So you went through the process, and you go through the anger, you go through the denial, and then you finally, hopefully, come around to just acceptance. Yes. And I think that what I've seen is that probably, just for sake of numbers, it's not accurate, but I would say that 8 to 9 out of 10 cases have not yet come to acceptance.
Right. Hello, I will vouch for that. We don't have statistical evidence, but what we do have is experience. And they never get to come back together to parent the kid. I sit there so often and I'm just like, if the two, because we're neutral. Guys, we are not on either side.
We're supposed to be anyway.
I use that word a lot. I'm neutral. Don't dump on me. Okay. So I sit there a lot and I hear both sides, right? We hear both sides, although we don't choose a side, not supposed to choose a side. You hear both sides. And a lot of times I'm like, if the two of you would just talk to each other and not allow your attorneys to talk to each other and allow the judge to talk, you guys would be fine.
Well, what I've discovered, and I'm sure that a lot of therapists, even clergy people would agree with too, is that you can't talk until you're healed. Mm-hmm. And if you skip that healing process, the talking is never going to come.
Amen.
The harmony is never going to come. Mm-hmm. You can't give away what you don't possess.
Yes.
So if I'm not done with you and I'm still upset, I'm still resentful, I'm hurt, all of those things are human. You should never not say, I don't feel those things.
Yes.
Just go through the process. Because what happens is, I'm not done with you. I need power. I need to feel in control. Yeah. Well, where can I get that from? Oh, I can get it from the child. I've only seen probably on one hand the number of parents, and I've been monitoring for a long time, that have actually just come to the acceptance process. Even though issue in parent A and issues in parent B haven't changed, perhaps.
Right.
But we've decided we're going to put that over here. We're not going to have emotional drive-by bullets in the presence of our children.
Right.
And children fare better because they're very resilient.
Yes.
They fare much better when they see that when we're at the exchange, mom and dad are going, hey, how you doing? All right, take it easy. All right, see you when you get back. And, they depart from the locale, but not interrogating and interviewing the child and withholding the child. And you mentioned about the courts, getting into your business, as you said. Well, a lot of that would not take place if the two parents, that mom and dad, could just get along. But I got to admit, sometimes people are having children when they ought not be having children.
Amen.
I tell the young people at juvenile hall all the time, be careful, even the boys, who you're having children with.
Yeah. That is the truth. Because you don't know, like I said, I didn't know that I would get married and then my marriage would dissolve within 3 years. I had no clue. We don't get married to think that we're going to get divorced, right? And I didn't even think that I would get not only divorced, but I didn't think that I would hate his guts either. Right? Okay. Like the things that we weren't ready in our lives to be this family. And we forced it and we tried to force it and you can't. Yeah. And so now we have this baby and now we're looking at each other and he's like, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, what are you going to do? But what we decided together was that we were going to make sure that we gave this child all that he needed. That was because I refused to allow my child to have to endure anything more than what life was going to already put on him.
Right. And that's a conscious decision. And that's a decision that's purposeful. And that's helpful. Again, it comes back, though, to forgiveness and acceptance. Yeah. I cannot give you what is going to be necessary for you to grow if I myself don't feel like I have what I need to grow. Yeah. So part of being a growth motivator, if you will, is, I'm still learning as I go, Miesha. I mean, I don't know everything. Right. Thank goodness. There's a lot. Right. I just learned so much in 2020. I learned that I don't like to be in a crisis and shut in. I learned that. Okay. Who knew? Because I'm kind of a homebody. Okay. I come out if I want to come out, but I've always been a homebody. Okay. But that was always an option. Yeah. When the option was removed, sent me into a little slight depression. I was even thinking about getting a dog.
You were getting a dog?
Thinking about a dog.
No, you weren't. You see, he was like a foster kid. Yeah, right. And he was like, and I want him to be a teenager.
Right.
And I was like, you do? You might want to think about that.
Right.
Yeah, so I get that.
I still have that, though, in my heart.
And you should.
I do, because of my work with the teens.
Fostering a child is definitely, I'm even considering adopting.
Yeah.
A kid.
We had this, you shared with me.
Yeah. So that is something, good. I don't feel like I'm done parenting.
Okay.
I wish I would have had another child, like 2 kids, but we didn't. And neither my ex, both of us only had 1 kid. And over Thanksgiving, he was like, we should have had another kid. I'm like, we should have, but it's too late now. So with that, though,
with modern science, you never know.
Yeah, true. But no, I'm good. I did my 19 years.
One and done, as they say.
Yes. So for me, if I were to give some advice, which I don't do often, because
I don't believe that.
I don't. Because I learned very early on is that people, you give your advice and people don't take it. Now, if you ask me,
right,
then I'll give it to you. But I only will give it to you if you're ready. Because I feel like my information is valuable. And it's not to just be spewed out if you're not going to really use it. So, but for the sake of the show, I thought about it. I had to stop and think as a parent who has co-parented a child. For me, it was silencing my ego.
I like that term.
Yeah, I had to silence my ego. And once I did that, the parenting worked for me. He wasn't perfect, and nothing's perfect. There were a lot of areas that he fell short, and there were areas from him that I fell short. But it wasn't my responsibility to make sure that those shortages I were to fix. My goal was to only focus on me and my child. Mm-hmm. I couldn't worry about his angry outburst. I couldn't worry about his lack of financial support or him not wanting the kid to go to this school or that. I couldn't worry about those things. All I could do was parent my child and make sure that he had an equal relationship with his dad.
Right. And children appreciate that because, there's research out there that proves that children have a internal tendency to want to be loyal to both parents.
Yes.
So they tend to be even a little bit more loyal to the one they live with.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Amen. Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm, but a parent should nurture. I think that I'm the last person to be talking about parenting because I'm not a parent.
Okay.
However, I've been a child.
You not only I feel like you can talk about it because you train on it. You don't have to be a parent to.
I don't have to be a cow to drink milk.
No, exactly. Okay. Like I feel like it's better for you to give parents information because you're neutral.
Yeah, I'm objective. You're a little bit more objective.
You're more objective.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like you can see things that a parent who are going through it can't see because we're so clouded with our own visions and our own issues that we can't see it. But you can on the outside looking in, can say, no, if you did this, you do that. And you train us that way. You train us as monitors to see things that way. Also, would you agree to this? I surrendered my control. Because think about it. Mm-hmm. When it doesn't work, it's usually because somebody is trying to control the situation, or both. Right. People are trying to control the situation, each other, and neither one want to relinquish control.
Right.
So what do you...
A good friend many years ago, not that long ago, but years ago, she told me, she says, when people don't respond, that's a sign to stop. And I never forgot that. So, there is an issue of control in marriages or relationships that have gone awry. And that's a big thing to relinquish, though, because control does give us some sense that we have some ownership over what's going on. And we tend to want to own the child, But again, it comes back to basics. This stuff is not rocket science. If
Say it again, please.
It comes back to basics. This is not rocket science.
Amen. Do you guys hear that? It really, all the parents that are listening that are struggling to co-parent, guys, it really isn't that difficult.
Put yourself aside and put the child first.
That's it.
That's all you have to do.
We can stop. We're done.
I know, right? Cut. When you do that, then other things come into your atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, as you mentioned, the ego. Well, for me, EGO, easing God out. Mm-hmm. Because everything comes back, that's my compass. I can't apologize for it.
No.
But if you just keep yourself focused, okay, on my peace and what is good for this individual, then I will allow these things to come into my place. Because let's face it, you hate me now, but you loved me when we were making the child. Woo! So let's try to, subtract from all of the hate that's now and redirect ourselves. Redirecting is a big deal in our field, right?
Right. We always
redirect
have to
ourselves back to, when I met you and when we dated and when I married you and when we bought our home together. I was loving you. Mm-hmm. Focus on that because that's all children want.
Yes.
This one client, she's 6. And about a month ago, she says, I just want things to be the way they used to be, Miss Tamara. She's 6.
A 6-year-old.
They get it.
They get it more than the parents do.
Absolutely. They get it. They're pure. They're pristine. They are unfiltered, untainted. Mm-hmm. And we spend time thinking, I'm just doing all this manipulation. I'm going to stick that word in there because, you're not saying that word. But I'm doing all this manipulation for the best interest of my child.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. And plus, your child gets it. They see when you put the glass down on the kitchen table with extra force. Yes. And then you say, no, mommy and daddy are just talking. No. They felt the glass hit the table. They know there's tension. Mm-hmm. They know there's anger. Mm-hmm. So if I were to give any advice, I would say first, forgive yourself for your part. Accept that you had a part to play. I've just learned to do that too.
Yes. That's deep.
Forgive yourself for your part. Let it go. And then focus on your child. Both of you guys.
Yeah.
But the courts are a little bit, I want to put them in there a little bit for the responsibility because I feel that all visitation orders should be an automatic co-parenting classes mandate. Mm-hmm. It should be an automatic anger management mandate. Mm-hmm.
Parenting mandate. Yeah. Like a parenting, but outside of co-parenting, like I have a client right now that is struggling because he has an infant.
Mm-hmm. He's the custodial parent?
Non.
Okay.
He's the non. He only gets a few hours, 9 hours a week, and he has an infant. He doesn't know how to change a diaper. He doesn't know he didn't know how to.
He learned.
And the custodial parent's attorney was like, well, he should just get his rights taken away. And I'm like,
you have to learn this. You have to learn this.
If he was at the house with the wife, she would teach him.
Right.
So I feel like he needs parenting classes. Gotcha. He should have been mandated to take parenting classes.
Yeah.
But these are things because now with COVID, we can put out a lot of things into the government and the atmosphere because they want new things need to change, new policies and procedures. So that could be something.
And there's a lot that you can, my 2 favorite resources are Google and YouTube. So
right.
I always, redirect to Google and YouTube. You can learn those things too.
In terms of the parenting.
But I want to give a shout out to the dads that I have had the pleasure of providing services for that do have it going on.
Such as like what? Give me examples.
Goodness. So they will come to a visit.
Okay.
They will have their Red Ryder cart.
Oh, yeah. I love those dads.
It will be packed down with the books. They'll have the changes of clothes. They'll have the Bluetooth to play the music as they're pulling them through the park.
Yes.
They'll have the snacks. They'll have the variety of snacks, and then they'll just, cop a squat, lay down on the blanket and just chill, take a nap, go get an ice cream, whatever. I mean,
while you're following them around.
while I'm following them around. That's right, within earshot and eyesight, as you know.
Right.
But there are a lot of dads today, not so much in my generation, that you see dads being that much of a participant. But today, they really are. And I want to give a hats off because, they've gotten a bad break.
Yeah.
And
that is
some
true.
of it deservingly.
Yes.
Yes. But now, they're a lot of them are pulling their weight.
I would agree with you 100%. Those dads tickle me in the inside. I just smile because those are trying. Those dads are really trying to be in their children's lives, and they've done something. I mean, they're there. Like, I'm not the judge. The judge ordered you to be there for whatever reason. He deemed you, he or she, the judge deemed you unsafe to be without a monitor, so I have to treat you that way. But sometimes I get sad because I'm like, you really don't deserve this.
Well, remember, too, that our field is an artificial environment.
Yes.
Yeah, there are parents that, it doesn't mean just because we see a good visit that that's the way they would be in an unmonitored, undocumented environment, right?
Yeah.
But we got, we have moms. As you know, you've had some moms that were your non-custodial parents.
Several.
And, it's good that we're there so that the child will stay safe.
I don't know if I should say this, but what I will say in my history of monitoring, the mothers that were on supervised visits needed to be. Mm-hmm. Every mother that I've monitored.
I hope none of your clients are watching you.
No, they're probably not.
Okay.
But, hey, they're not my clients anymore.
Yeah, okay. It's safe zone.
Yeah. Safe zone. The mothers that I have had, I don't have any mothers on my caseload right now currently. They needed to be. Yeah. They were definitely, and the cases ended because of exactly why they were on monitor visits. It's more or less the dads that kind of like get a bad rap. And people say, well, this is what I wanted to talk about too. And we can segue into off of co-parenting and actually talk about monitoring, being a professional visitation monitor. But people think there's a misconception of what the non-custodial parent looks like. Mm. The non-custodial parent is a he and a she, a he or a she. Financially, their economic background, they're not poor. Because people are like, oh, are they on welfare? No.
Not in family law.
No. They're like, what? These aren't poor people. No, honey. These people are typically, I feel, and you can piggyback off of this. I feel like the judge wouldn't put a parent that could not afford the service on the service. Would you agree?
I don't know. Yeah, okay. I don't know enough about that to say. I know that the judges, I always say that they're human and they make a decision and they decide based on what is before them. They only have that little 10-minute window at the most. But you're right to say that we do have a clientele that is a little bit different because family law, these children live at home with their parent. This is not foster care,
right.
Department of Children and Family Services.
Right.
So we get, someone that could be unemployed, especially in our economy the last, few years. Mm-hmm. But generally you get people, they might be business owners. They could be superintendents. I've had
judges,
CEOs. I've had, owners of restaurant chains. I've had celebs. Yeah. You'll get a different caliber, but you're still a broken piece somewhere in your life. It's either domestic violence or substance abuse, sexual abuse, alcohol abuse. So even though I might have the parchment with me, I might have the bank account, I might have the zip code, that does not equate to my emotional and psychological strength. Yeah.
I agree with that. And I always, people are taken aback when I say that. They're like, what? In their mind, because we are in a niche market. It's a niche field, a beautiful field. I guess you can tell that I really enjoy what I do.
Just a little bit, I can tell.
I'm just like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Tamara. Like, it's been a true blessing. And in training, you always said this. I don't know if you know that you say this a lot. This field is a blessing. Do you know you say that all through the class.
Oh, okay.
It's a blessing. And you sit there as a student, you're like, what does she mean? Because you don't know. You don't know.
You're in it.
Till you're in it.
Yeah.
To go to Disneyland and be at Disneyland for 4 hours and you're getting paid to eat ice cream and eat cookies and
Oh, I didn't mean it that way, Miesha. Okay, we see what you're focused on.
No. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm the blessing is to have the kid see their other parent, but it's fun.
I'll dovetail back to that. It's a blessing in the sense that, one, you're being a safe vehicle for a child to spend time
with their
because
parent.
without the professional monitor there, then they're not going to have that access to see them. So that's a blessing too. And if you love children, that's a blessing. Yeah. And I've become more and more fond of children since I've been in this field. But the other piece is financial or economical. I've had monitors tell me, Tamara, my husband got sick. He had to quit his job. And because I'm a monitor, I can fill in financially for our house. Or, my child is going off to college. This part-time career really came at the right time. Or, you know what? I'm training my whole family. We've got a new business now. So in the economical sense, you're right.
For me, it's I wasn't speaking on the economical sense because how can I say this?
Just the social fun about
it's beyond, for me, it's beyond the dollar. Because I will close a case if it doesn't work for me. I believe all money is not good money. Yeah, that's what I say a lot. I don't keep a case that doesn't work. If my spirit is telling me to end it, I will close a case because I believe that my spirit is telling me to do that for a reason. And when I've done that, I've gotten multiple clients after that. So I wouldn't say, I know that I'm not in this for the money. Yes, the money is good, but outside of that, it is fun for me. You're a little bit more serious than I am. I'm a little bit more joking. For me, it is fun because I am a mom, and I do remember, I don't have a kid anymore. I do remember going to Disneyland on my dime. Now I get to go to, and I loved it. I get to go to Disneyland on somebody else's dime. I get to go skating. Oh my God, we're going to the park. Do you have any skates? Yes, I do have skates. Bring your skates so we can. That's fun for me.
Gotcha.
That is, I still get to be a kid, but I'm getting paid to do what I absolutely love doing. That's a blessing. Yeah, that is. We are almost out of time, and I really? We're almost out of time. We have a few more minutes, but I don't want us to forget to talk about if someone was interested in utilizing your services and becoming a professional visitation monitor. Tell us a little bit of what that looks like if someone was interested.
Well, classes are run every month. It's a 3-day class for California. You have to have a minimum of 24 hours. So I deliver it in 3 8-hour days. You can go right to the website, supervisedchildvisits.com, and take the class. You do have to have a clean criminal background record. So that is the eligibility requirement.
And a car.
Yeah, this is not
you got to have a car.
The job that you can do Ubering around town, right? That's for sure. Right, or rapid transit.
No.
And you have to have a heart for children.
Yes.
I think. And you got to have the tolerance to deal with the family nuances because you're dealing with people.
Yeah, it is not easy.
They're in your ear and you have to know how to put your time out up.
Yeah, and I say my words instead of saying time out. I'm like, are you dumping on me? They're like, oh, Miss Maya, I'm so sorry. I'm dumping on you. Yeah, I'm neutral, remember? They're like, oh, okay. I don't even get into it with them.
You're like a little sergeant, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Because you take on, if you allow yourself, you take on the spirit of these relationships.
You bring them home with you.
You bring them home with you. If you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 clients, you now take on, I don't believe in taking on anybody else's stuff. When I get in my car, I close that door and I take off my little monitor hat, and now I'm on to the next.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's good. That way you can stay in the field for a long time without getting burned out.
Yeah.
You notice what I always say too in the class is stay in your lane.
Like stay in your lane.
Right. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. So, you said it's child visits, supervisedchildvisits.com. Take the training. It's 24 hours. It's 3 days, Wednesday to Friday, once a month.
In Glendale, California.
So all
the information is on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Child visits.
Supervisedchildvisits.com.
So
I worked hard on those keywords.
Yeah, that's an insight. Same here. So I have a few keywords that I use that pop up, but that's actually a really good name, and that name is that's a good one. You got it quick because you've been in it so long that you were able to get supervised.
Yeah.
Somebody has professional.
Somebody upstairs gave it to me when I was one morning in the shower. I thought, I ran to my computer and saved it.
Did you come up with the name during your course of your class, or did it come after your class?
Oh, I was already monitoring before I started training. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been training 9 years. I've been monitoring 11.
Okay. So
Next
2
year
years
will be
into
12.
it. 2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, you heard us, guys. So before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share that you did not get to speak on?
No, you did a pretty good job.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
of course, I'll probably think of something
You're like, oh my goodness, I forgot to say.
after the time to say it.
Okay, come on, Felicia.
What are the risks?
Being a monitor. Oh
Being a
my
monitor?
gosh, that we have huge risks.
Yeah.
You speak on that because since you train, what are our risks?
Yeah, well, safety and security, it can be threatened depending on if you do not screen for safety, taking a case that is outside of your capacity to provide services, taking a case where the nature of risks are so high. Some of those court orders, as you know, there may be that box check flight risk.
Yeah.
So that's a risk if you take that
up
case.
Mm-hmm.
If you're inexperienced and you take a case with too many children, or the duration of the visits are 8 hours and you've never monitored, or you've only monitored for a year and you've only had one case,
I've done that.
Huh?
I've done that. I did that before. It was actually my first client. She had 5 kids, but it wasn't all once because there's a 2.
Oh, I remember you had a 3 and a 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
actually, that's a smart strategy. But that's the way the court order was written, to break it up, 3 and 2.
No, it wasn't. It was the attorney and I came up because I was like, well, I would need another monitor.
Right.
They were like, no, we want you. And I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out how we can do this. And that was like an 8-hour visit. It was 4 hours one and 4 hours. And I had that for a whole year. And she ended up abandoning the kids and moved on.
So there are risks, but I would say if it was inherently dangerous, then they wouldn't allow lay people like us to do it. It'd be restricted to probation or law enforcement or something. By the way, law enforcement does do this a lot as they're part-time.
A lot. That's how I found out, through a law enforcement.
Okay.
I found out through my sister cousin. She's in law enforcement, and a lot of her coworkers were monitors.
Yeah.
And she was training in a training and heard about monitoring, brought it to me, and found you.
Okay.
But yeah, to piggyback off of endangerment, we are every day that I get out of my car, I pray, because you never know. Even though my client the box may not be checked off as a flight risk, you're still dealing with raw emotions because this parent wants to see its kid outside of 9 hours and he doesn't want to pay to see his kid. So now he's mad at the world. Mm-hmm. And this day you come in on visit and he's just mad at you. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not the enemy. I'm here to help you. So I feel like every day I put myself, time I monitor, I actually put myself in harm's way. So when you think about this profession or this career, you have to think about that, because there are cases where you've sent us emails where there's been exchanges.
Things didn't turn out the way they were planned. Yeah. This isn't a gig. No. I say that at the top of day one in every training. It's not a gig. It is a real world. You're dealing with family law. You're dealing with parents and their nuances to the family dynamics, and you have children. So it's not a gig. Is it rewarding? Yes. Is it revenue friendly? Yes. But it's not a gig. And I've talked people out of taking the class.
Me too.
Because I can sense that they are in it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. So I want to talk them out of it. But I'm glad that we exist Because otherwise, these children might not have access to the parent. And there are some really good visits. My number is 97%. It's not a real number, but just for illustration.
What's that mean?
That means 97% of visits go smoothly.
Oh, yeah.
As they're intended to.
Good way of...
Yeah, just to put some context for your audience.
Yeah, so they're like, oh my God, this is
the 3% is why we take the training.
Exactly. And the 3% exist.
Yeah.
But when you do the intake, when you go to the class, you'll know if it's something, during the intake, if this is something that you decide you want to take on. And that's why it's very important to have a thorough intake where you're actually giving the non-custodial parent the opportunity to talk. Because they're going to be on their best behavior, but they're going to slide through and have some keywords. Yeah. And your little spidey senses are going to pick up and be like, no, I don't think I'm going to take this case.
And you have to trust your gut. So back to the question that came from the audience there. What about, how dangerous it is? You got to trust your gut. Mm-hmm. And we have to do that anyway in life, right? Mm-hmm. But here, for sure, you got to trust your gut. Mm-hmm. If you have to think about it twice, don't do it once.
Because all money isn't good money.
That's right. Yeah. Lollipop.
All money's not good money. Well, before we go, guys, I have to give a shout out to my foster youth. I always want to tell you to keep your head up. And if you need anything, I'm here. My email is myvisitationmonitor@gmail.com. I'm here. If you need anything, you need resources, you need information, you need a mentor, not a mentor, motivator, mentor, motivator. I have support and help for you. Please don't think that you are in this world alone, as we do feel alone sometimes, but I'm here for you. You got a sister in me. Also, to find Girlfriend's Guide to Life, we actually need your support on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, we are Girlfriend's Guide to Life, the way it's spelled. And on Instagram, we are Girlfriend's Guide to Life, spelled Lyfe Please support us, like us, friend us, subscribe to our show. We could not do this without you. Also, before I go, I have to give a shout out to Morris Media Studios, my girl, the poetess, who continues to open her doors up to me and mentor me and support me in my endeavors. I thank you. You guys, thank you so much to Miss Tamara Daniels. Thank you for joining me. I see a bright future with you. I know you actually want to have your own podcast, and here you have it.
I've been thinking about it.
Yes, you have. You've been talking about it for a while now. Just step out on a leap of faith and do it. Anyways, lollipops, as Miss Tamara, I say lovely, she says lollipops. Goodbye, beautiful lovelies. I appreciate you. Thank you. Until next time, happy holidays.